Hey guys, welcome back for another quick video today. I thought I'd just quickly do the films of Matt Reeves. He's only made 6 feature films so far as a director. He has worked in producing TV and a few films and things like that as well, but as far as his actual directing movies go, there are only 6 of them. So it should be a fairly quick video today. Um, yeah, I'm a real big fan of his stuff, especially his recent stuff. I pretty much like all of his films, but I think he's a director that's getting better with each film, to be honest, just about. And yeah, so I've recently rewatched the two Planet of the Apes films that he did, as well as Cloverfield and Let Me In within the last few months or so. And I watched The Pallbearer for the first time as well because that was the only one I hadn't actually seen. So we'll just do them in order of when they came out. So the first one that not many people know about is The Pallbearer, which is a film that came out in the mid 90s. It's kind of like a dramedy, romantic comedy drama film, though it doesn't really succeed at being any of those things too well. I do remember enjoying it while I was watching it, but not thinking it was amazing or anything like that. I do think it gets a little bit too much hate. I think it's only on a 5 on the IMDb, so it's pretty average. It's not bad. Compared to his other films, yeah, it's definitely not standout. It's very much run of the mill, cliche, just kind of typical romantic drama film with nothing that memorable that stands out about it. But for a one time watch, it's fine. And I'm going to put it, for this list, I'll put it in the C tier just because, yeah, it's not awful, but it's not a movie that I don't imagine too many people would return to after one watch. Um, so there was a good 10, 11, or 12 year gap between this film and Cloverfield, which was his next film. So I think most people would consider his real film career starting at Cloverfield and going through to the Batman, which tends to be his, obviously what he's more well known for. And things like that. So we'll start off with Cloverfield next, and I'm going to put this one in the B tier. I like this film quite a bit. It's not obviously not one of my favorites, being a B tier film. It's my second least favorite after The Pallbearer. But as far as found footage films go, it's actually one of the better ones. I'm not a huge fan of the genre, but when it's done well, it's actually quite interesting and captivating. And this film, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's like 85 minutes long, and it's very impressive for his kind of first real big film, I guess, um, after this 10-year period. And it's interesting, it's fun, it's scary, it's adventurous. It's got everything you kind of want from one of these kind of sci-fi monster films, as well as a found footage film, and it's quite good with memorable sequences and characters. Some people might put it higher. I do think it's the best of the Cloverfield films. But yeah, it's just a solid kind of found footage film that I enjoy watching every now and then. So I'm going to put it in the B tier. So next up, we have the 2010 vampire teen coming of age romantic horror film, which is quite a bizarre, I guess, group of genres to throw together, but it works so well in this film. This is one of my favorite vampire films and one of my favorite Matt Reeves films. It's easily an A tier movie, very close to even being an S tier film for me. It's actually my second favorite of his films. I think Chloe Grace Moretz and Cody Smith McPhee are really great as the young kids in the film, as well as I think it's Richard Jenkins who plays the father or the uncle. The movie's just like a real kind of slow, atmospheric horror film, but also at the center of it is kind of like this sweet, innocent romance between this boy and a girl, even though the girl is like a killer vampire. So, but she kind of becomes his protector because he's bullied a lot in school and things like that. But the performances are so good for kids of this age, as well as the rest of the cast, the bullies and everything. Like you really hate these characters and you really love these other characters. But the movie just looks great. It was filmed really well. It's got a great soundtrack. It's got emotion. It's got horror. It's got violence. Pretty much everything, and it's a real vampire film. Even though it is from a kid's perspective and a vampire child, it still follows the laws and the rules of vampirism and things like that, which is cool. And it's a really great film, and I really think it's underrated when it comes to Matt Reeves films. People usually just talk about the Planet of the Apes films or the Batman, but I think that Let Me In is easily up there with those films as one of his best as well. So I highly recommend that if you haven't seen it. So next we have the two Planet of the Apes films, and as I said, these are two that I returned to. I remember watching them when they came out and enjoying them quite a bit, but never really coming back to them. However, I wanted to rewatch them when I was getting back into his films again lately, and I've really come to enjoy the both of them quite a lot. Um, I always knew that I really liked Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I just never got around to rewatching it and all that until recently. But again, it's another film for me that's in the A tier easily. Um, just like, yeah, the visual effects, the storytelling, the actors, the characters, everything just kind of comes together to work to make a really great adventure, sci-fi kind of action, as well as a big epic drama story that overarcs between the three films. Um, but yeah, it's a great film. It's got some great sequences, really cool cinematography, visual effects, and Andy Serkis is great as Caesar. In this middle chapter, most people think it's the best of the three. But after watching War of the Planet of the Apes, I'm pretty tied on the two. I think they're both pretty much equal. I'm not sure, to be honest, which one I like best. I think they're pretty much even. So I'll put War for the Planet of the Apes up right next to Dawn. So yeah, consider them equal. I actually think I prefer Let Me In still over those two films, but it's very close. All three of those films are pretty much tied, and they're all great films. And all three of them pretty much are very close to being S tier films for me as well. So I really like them. And yeah, about War for the Planet of the Apes, I actually just rewatched that one a couple nights ago since it came out for the first time, and really enjoyed it a lot about it. I'd forgotten quite a bit about that one particularly, but yeah, it's got a great sense of adventure through its first half, and then this kind of prison camp, prison break story in its second half that's really cool as well. And the storyline ties things up nicely at the end, even though they have made a fourth film now that kind of continues, but not directly continues. It's like hundreds of years later, I think. I haven't actually seen that one yet, but I will hopefully get around to it. But yeah, War for the Planet of the Apes is another very solid A tier film for me. And last but not least, we have The Batman. This is an excellent film. This is an easy S tier for me. Easily his best film. I'm a huge Batman fan. I have been since I was a kid. I grew up with the Michael Keaton films, and then the Joel Schumacher Batmans, and then obviously Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder. But yeah, this Batman movie is easily one of my favorite ones. It's very grounded. It's very gritty and dark. It has the realism of films like it reminded me a lot of David Fincher's Zodiac and Seven in just the way it looks and the grittiness of it, as well as the kind of just darkness of this town and this city and just kind of like the underlying evilness of it. But it also felt very much like our first true Batman detective story. Like all the other Batman films are kind of like big action spectacles, whereas this film feels a bit more like a thriller, like a psychological thriller, which is something that was really unique about it and something that I loved about it. I love the big epic 3 hour scope runtime of the film. I don't feel like any of that's wasted. I love the characters. I love that they brought the Riddler in as the main villain because we don't see enough of him. I thought Robert Pattinson was great as Batman and Bruce Wayne. Alfred Pennyworth was played by Andy Serkis again. But pretty much the whole cast was on point. I really enjoyed the whole film, and I really can't wait to see what he does with the sequel that they're hopefully going to start filming soon. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. Hopefully, we get like a Mr. Freeze or something as a villain. That would be really cool. But yeah, so far we have these six films from Matt Reeves. As I said, even all the A tier films are very close for me being into S tier films. They're all just great movies. Um, so I'd highly recommend pretty much all the films here except for The Pallbearer. Um, yeah, even Cloverfield's a solid movie, but as I said, he's only made six films, so there's not a whole lot to talk about or go through at this stage. But hopefully, we get obviously the Batman sequel, and then maybe it'll be a trilogy, or who knows where he'll go next. But for now, he's got a very solid short filmography, so I just hope that he's able to continue making cool films so that we can add to that down the track. So thanks guys for watching. Please let me know your ranking in the description if you've seen all these films. Bye.